The Battle of Jiangling was fought by the allied forces of Sun Quan and Liu Bei against Cao Cao in the late Eastern Han Dynasty. The battle was an integral part of the Red Cliffs campaign, and was fought immediately after the Battle of Jiangling in 208, and the preceding engagement at Wulin on land and the marine Battle of Red Cliffs where Cao Cao's navy was destroyed. Note that the battle at Wulin was a byproduct of the Battle of Red Cliffs, and they were not the same battle. While the fighting around the city of Jiangling was vigorous, there were not much fierce battles taking place in southern Jing province. Unable to isolate Jiangling from its supporting cities for details, the campaign became a war of attrition, which resulted in enormous casualties for Cao Cao's side. Background: after the great victory in the Battle of Red Cliffs, the Allies immediately carried out their next step of their strategy by attempting to take control of Nan Commandery from Cao Cao by driving the retreating enemy toward Jiangling. The battles. Liu Bei fronts Zhou Yu was worried about Cao Cao's unscathed units totaling over 100,000 strong, which were scattered around strategic locations. So he urged Liu Bei to send Guan Yu to block Cao Ren's supply lines via infiltration. Zhou Yu wanted to have Guan Yu attack the enemy rear while bypassing the strong point of Jiangling. In order to isolate Jiangling for a coordinated attack, Guan Yu's infiltration. Guan Yu, along with Su Fei, led a special force composed of navy and elite infantry, sailed up the Han River, and attacked the city of Zhangyang, which was guarded by Yu Jin. However, Guan Yu was soundly expelled by Yu Jin outside the city. At Xiaku, Guan Yu's fleet met Yu Jin and Wenping, and Guan was held off by his rivals. Wenping trailed Guan Yu to Han Ford, in which he had Guan's food storage blown to the ground. As a result, Guan Yu attempted to recuperate at Jingcheng. However, his pursuers would not allow him to rest, and Guan was forced to fight a naval battle with Wenping, which resulted in a total disaster. Southern Jing province. Liu Bei asked for and obtained Zhou Yu's permission to cover the rear and the flank of Zhou's navy by taking the remaining 4 commanderies to the south of the Yangtze River from Cao Cao. There were hardly any troops left to defend the region, so all of the administrators of Cao Cao's 4 commanderies, including Jin Shan at Wuling, Han Shan at Changsha, Zhao Fan at Guiyang, and Lu Du at Lingling all surrendered without a fight. More importantly, Liu Bei's conquest of these commanderies was an integral portion of the Red Cliffs campaign, as part of the goal of the Allies. Liu Bei finally had a base of his own, and he named Zhuge Liang as military advisor general of the household to oversee the administrative affairs of Changsha, Guiyang and Lingling. The biggest gain for Liu Bei, however, was that he was joined by Lei Zhu and his troops, which almost doubled Liu Bei's force instantly. As soon as the news of Cao Cao's defeat at Wulin was heard, Lei Zhu at Lujiang rebelled. Cao Cao's earlier strategy of keeping his veteran force in a separate force in the north to prepare for possible rebellions had paid off, as he was able to summon the force to suppress the rebellion quickly by putting Xiao Yuan in charge. But the victory was not complete. Though defeated and lost his turf, Lei Xu's force was largely unscathed. He led them to Liu Bei, strengthening the latter. Northern blockade. Liu Bei authorized Zhang Fei and Guan Yu to command his troops. He suggested to Zhou Yu to block Jiangling from receiving new supplies as a means of driving Cao Ren out. Thus, Guan Yu was sent north to intercept enemy reinforcements, and blockades were set along the main passages. However, Cao Cao's general Li Tong fought valiantly. He dismounted and removed the blockades one by one, and advanced forward. Unable to suppress his enemy, Guan Yu ordered a retreat and Li Tong managed to enter Jiangling. Meantime, Liu Bing placed Xianglang in charge of Sigi, Yidao, Wushan, and Yiling counties. All of them were vital to invade Yi province. Zhou Yu fronts. The Allies appeared to be suffering losses, but their failures were considered minor as compared to that of Cao Cao's side. A few months earlier, Cao Ren had his elite cavalry suffered over 3,000 casualties in a single day in an attempt to retake Yiling. Besides, Cao Ren and his aide, Zhu Huang, were unable to suppress Ling Tong, who were defending Zhou Yu's main camp on his own. Niu Jin's assault. Hence, the soldiers inside Jiangling were low on morale, and Cao Ren knew he needed to do something to change the tide of war. To prevent morale from dropping further, Cao Ren recruited 300 volunteers to form an assault force led by General Niu Jin, in hope that they could score a minor victory or demonstrate bravery on the field to boost morale. When the enemy vanguard reached the outskirts of the city, the small detachment was immediately besieged. Cao Ren ordered several tens of his best men to be ready for the rescue. His chief clerk Chen Zhao advised against it, arguing that the enemy's morale is too high, and losing several hundred men is not a big deal to us. Cao Ren ignored Chen Zhao's plea and went out, charging directly into the enemy. As Chen Zhao lost sight of Cao Ren, he was certain that Cao Ren was dead. However, to everyone's surprise, not only did Cao Ren rescue Niu Jin on the first attempt, he went back to save the remaining survivors. As Cao Ren and his troops returned to safety behind the city walls, the total fatalities of the combined forces of Cao Ren and Niu Jin were minimal. The surprised Chen Zhao could only mutter one sentence: "General, you are truly a man from heaven." When Cao Cao learned of this soon after, he rewarded Cao Ren with the rank of Marquis of Safeness for his bravery in this battle. Encouraged by this incident, Cao Ren set up camps outside the city walls. Zhou Yu personally led raids on Cao Ren's camps, and during one such raid, he was seriously wounded after he was hit by an arrow that broke one of his right ribs. Withdrawal of Cao Ren. In addition, the Allied force was unable to block the numerous reinforcements continually sent by Cao Cao, so the siege turned out to be a prolonged one. As Zhou Yu could hardly command the troops, the battles were left to Ling Tong, Lu Meng and others, who were forced to expediently alter their temporary objective into inflicting damage to the enemy units. After a year of intense fighting, Zhou Yu regained health and insisted on personally leading the army. He purposefully flaunted before Cao Ren and rallied his army to illustrate his determination to keep on the offensive, being deceived by Zhou Yu, who was actually still in critical condition. Cao Cao unwillingly ordered Cao Ren to retreat under the rationale that his forces could no longer afford continuous loss of materiel and labor. Therefore, Sun Quan's forces finally succeeded in their objective of capturing Nancommandery, which holds the upper stream of the Yangtze River, a strategic stronghold that would never be reclaimed by the state of Kaowei. Aftermath. After Liu Bei became a powerful warlord of southern Jing province, Sun Quan was a bit apprehensive of him, so he arranged a marriage for Liu and his sister. With the help of Sun Quan's strategist, Lu Su, Liu Bei also successfully borrowed Nancommandery from Sun. Thus, Liu Bei had secured everything he needed for the invasion of Yi province, and he would mobilize his troops towards Yi province in 211. Traditionally, the Battle of Jiangling is regarded as the end of the Red Cliffs campaign because as the confrontations ended and the battle turned into a siege, Cao Cao returned to his forward base in Qiao in the north in March 209, and Sun Quan also gave up his attack on Hefei in the east, and the remainder of the siege of Jiangling was no longer considered as part of the campaign by most historians. The fall of Jiangling to Sun Quan is generally regarded as the aftermath of the campaign. Order of battle. Cao Cao forces general who attacks the south. Cao Ren, stationed in Jiangling. Chief clerk Chen Zhao, general who swipes across the wilderness. Zhu Huang, general Niu Jin, administrator of Zhangyang. Yu Jin, administrator of Runan Li Tong, administrator of Jiangxia Wenping, general who demonstrates bravery Manchong, Sun Quan forces general in the center protecting the army Zhou Yu. Served as commander-in-chief of the Allied forces right area commander Cheng Pu general of the household Han Dang general of the household Hu. Swipes across the wilderness Lu Meng commandant who inherits fierceness Ling Tong chief of Yichun Zhou Tai prefect of Dankou Gan Ning. Liu Bei forces general on the left Liu Bei served as vanguard of the Allied ground forces Lieutenant General Guan Yu. Served as commander of Liu Bai's naval forces general of the household Zhang Fei chief of Linzhou Xianglang. In fiction. For dramatic effect, in many literary works, Liu Bai's conquest of the four commanderies south of the Yangtze River were listed as separate battles, and there was a match between Guan Yu and Huang Zhong which became the source of other cultural works, such as Beijing opera. In reality, however, none of these were true. Contrary to what was depicted in Luo Guanzhong's historical novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Han Shan was not killed by Wei Yan. While there was no record when Wei Yan became a subject of Liu Bei or whether Wei Yan took part in this battle,